Okay, na? Views are created for what? So, okay. And also another one, you can also say view is a virtual table. View is a what, sir? Virtual table. A view is a virtual, virtual table. Okay. Then why? Because what? It doesn't store, it doesn't store data. It doesn't store data and doesn't occupy what's it? Doesn't occupy memory. A view is a virtual table because it doesn't store data, doesn't occupy memory. And it always what? It always what, sir? Derives data from base table. A view is a virtual table because it doesn't store data, doesn't occupy memory, and it always derives the data from what? Base table. Understood then? Okay. Now, and also we can say a view is a representation of a query. A view always represents a query. Subset of a table, virtual table, representation of a query. One second. Actually, earlier, have you granted the permissions? Granted what? Select, insert, update, delete, what? On EMP to what? Vijay. Grant, select, insert, update, delete on EMP to Vijay. Yes or no? So, but what is granted to Vijay? The EMP table is granted to Vijay. That means the whole table is granted to Vijay. But Vijay is not allowed to access complete table. Is allowed to access only specific rows and specific columns. Is not allowed to access complete table. Is allowed to access only specific rows and columns. I want to give permissions to Vijay to access only specific rows and columns. Okay. Then what? Okay, na? Then so instead of granting the table to Vijay, grant what's her? So Vijay is allowed to access all the fields except salaries and commissions. Vijay is not allowed to see what? Salaries and commissions. I want to hide the salaries and commissions for Vijay. Then what you do? Create a what's her? View. Create a view V1. In this view, include what? Number, name, job. Next one, hide date. Suppose department number. So except what? Salaries and commissions. So include all the columns of EMP table. After this, next one, what you do? Instead of granting the table to Vijay, grant what? V1 to Vijay. Instead of granting the table to Vijay, grant what's it? V1. Grant V1 to Vijay. After granting V1 to Vijay, now Vijay can access only these four fields. He can't access complete EMP table. He can access only four column. That means view provides security at what's our row and column level. So user is not allowed to access complete table. He is allowed to access only part of the table. How this can be done? With the help of views. So create a view, include the columns which user is allowed to access. User is allowed to access these four columns. Then what? Grant what's it? Grant instead of granting the table to the Vijay, grant view to the Vijay. Understood? Then. So this is the concept. Okay. Then. So views are what? Two types. Views are two types. One is what? Simple views. Another one, what? Complex views. So views are two types. One is simple, another one complex view. Simple views. Simple views. When the view set to be simple view, then a view set to be simple view, if it is based on what? If view created on. Sir, actually views are created on what? Views created on? Hmm? If you created on what? Single table, then it is called simple view. Views created on what? Tables. Views created on table. If the view created on single table, it is simple. If the view created on multiple tables, then it is complex. If the view based on single table, it is simple view. If the view based on multiple tables, it is called complex view. Okay. So a view created on single table, then it is called simple view. So what the syntax for creating the view is create view, view name, create view name as what? select statement. Create view name as select statement. So create view name as select statement. So this is the syntax for creating what's a view. Example. Example. Then so that means view is created with query. Okay. Then now let's see example. Create view v1. Create view v1. Before creating the view, you should have the idea. What the idea? Like why you are creating this view? Because there is a user Vijay. Vijay is not allowed to access complete table. Is allowed to access only specific columns. That's why I'm creating the view. So what columns Vijay is allowed to access? Select that. Vijay is allowed to access numbers, names, jobs and department numbers, but is not allowed to access salaries and commissions. I'm selecting only these 4 columns. Okay, so whatever the column that user is allowed to access, select only the columns. So user is allowed to access these 4 columns. So then create the view. Create the view. So who is creating? Huh? Who is creating? Huh? Who is creating the view? DBO. Who is creating the view? DBO. Left side is DBO, right side is Vijay. So who is creating the view? DBO. DBO is creating. Because who is the owner of EMP table? DBO. So DBO is creating the view. But actually requirement is Vijay wants EMP table. But Vijay is not allowed to access this data, all the data. That's why what DBO is doing, DBO is creating view. Instead of giving the table to the Vijay, give the view to the Vijay. Okay, then next. So the view created. After creating the view, what happens? When this command is executed, what happens? SQL server creates what? View v1. SQL server creates view v1. Okay, na? Then SQL server creates what's her view v1 and what it stores and stores what's her query, but not query output. Okay, na? SQL server creates view v1 and stores what's her query, but not query output. Okay, SQL server creates view v1 and stores query, but not query output. Okay, then so it will not store the query output. Query output means what? Query output means what's her data. Data is not stored in view. What is stored in view? Query. View doesn't store the data. That's why in my definition, a view is a what's it? Virtual table because it doesn't store data, doesn't occupy memory, and it always derives the data from base table. Okay, then suppose, but I'll run the query. Select star from v1. Will it show the data or it will not show the data? Huh? Select star from v1. After creating, I'll run the query. Select star from v1. Will it show or it will not show? Showing. But what I said, view doesn't store the data. When it doesn't store the data, from where this data is coming? Huh? That's what I said here. Read this virtual table because doesn't store data, doesn't occupy memory. What is the next one? It always derives the data from base table. That means whenever you run this query, then when this query is sent to SQL server, SQL server execute the query as follows. SQL server executes above query as follows. Okay, then so select star from what? Select star from v1. So wherever you reference v1, the v1 is replaced with this query. Wherever you reference v1, the v1 is replaced with this query. Select star from then this one. That means whatever the data that is displayed here, this is not coming from what's it? Whatever the data that is displayed here, this data is not coming from view. This data is coming from table, EMP table. So this query output, that means when you run this query is executed. Whenever you run the query on view, this query is executed. Okay. So whatever the data displayed here, it is not the output of this query. It is the output of this query. Understood that? When you run the query on v1, this query is executed. That's why in my definition, I said view is a what's a representation of a query. V1 is representing the query. So V1 is representing this query. You are giving the name to the query. What is the name given to the query? V1. So whenever you want to execute this query, execute V1. That's all. Understood? Okay. Then next one. After this, okay. After this, then now, like what for you created this view to then Vijay. You want to grant EMP table data to Vijay. That's why you created the view. So then what? Granting permissions on view to user. Granting permissions on view to user. Then how? Grant what's that? Select what? Insert, update, delete on V1 to Vijay. Grant, select, insert, update, delete on V1 to Vijay. Okay. Then grant, select, insert, update, delete permissions on V1 to Vijay. So then after granting this permissions on view to Vijay, now Vijay can access EMP table. Huh? Vijay can access EMP table. Yes, he can access EMP table, but he can't access EMP table directly. He can access EMP table through view. He can't access EMP table directly. He can access EMP table through view. So through view, he can access only what? Number, name, job, department number. He can't access complete table. Yes or no? Now run this. Okay, then. So run this. So here, now let's see. So commands completed. Now see, select star from what? Huh? Select star from V1. Select star from V1. That's it. So he's accessing only EMP table. Okay, then. But he can't access complete table. He's accessing only 4 columns: number, name, job, department number. So what we are providing what's that? Row and column level security. Okay, then. Understood? Then otherwise we can also add. Okay, then. So views are created. Views are created for 2 reasons. What are the 2 reasons? One is created to provide what? Security, and to reduce what? Complexity. And how you provide security by creating views? Okay, then now we can say with the help of what? With the help of WhatsApp views, we can grant WhatsApp specific rows and columns to users. Okay, now then view provides another level of security. With the help of views, we can grant specific rows and columns to users. Okay, then. Okay, now Vijay can access. Now Vijay can access or not? Yes. So Vijay, user Vijay can access EMP table. Yes, he can access EMP table through view. We access select star from V1. Select star from V1. Can he update? Vijay can update. Yes or no? Yes. Vijay can update. Yes. Vijay can update EMP table. Yes. He can update EMP table through view. Through view. Suppose he want to update 7369 job. Then now we can update what? EMP V1. Update V1. Set job equals to manager, where employee number equal to 7369. So updating V1 means updating EMP table, because view doesn't store the data. There is no data in view. Data is there in table. So, but when you execute the query on view, this query is actually executed on table. Okay, then run this. One row affected. Now see the table. Just go and see the table. Select star from what's that? EMP. Select star from EMP. Okay. 7369 job is updated with manager. So whatever commands executed on view, these commands are actually executed on base table. Okay, na? Then base table is updated or not? Yes. So can you update salary? Salary equals to 2000. Let's see. Can you update the salary? is it giving error. Salary is invalid column. Why? Huh? No. Ah. Understood. Understood. Then. So why can't you update salary? Because salary is not included in view. So okay, then through view we can update only the columns which are included in view. You can't update the columns which are not included in view. That is what providing security, limiting the user to access only specific columns. Okay, then next. So update EMP set job equals to manager where employee number is what, sir? 7369. Third one. Suppose then update EMP set what? Salary. Set salary equal to 2000 where employee number is 7369. Understood then. So what happens to this query? Error. This query gives, sorry, not EMP. What's it? V1. Here also what? V1. So through view is updating salary, but not allowed. Okay. Can you delete? Can you delete? Yes or no? Yes. Delete from what? V1. Where employee number equal to 7369. Delete from V1 where employee number equal to 7369 is deleting. Through view is deleting. Through view is deleting. One row deleted. Now see the table. It is deleted from where? View doesn't store. You are performing operations on tables through view. Then it deleted from where? Table. 7369 row is deleted or not? Yes. Okay, na? That's clear? Then. So what is this is column level security. Granting specific columns. What the next one is? Row level security. I want to provide row level security. Means Vijay is not allowed to access all 14 employees data. Is allowed to access only specific employees data. That means he is allowed to access only the employees belongs to 20th department. He is not allowed to access all the employees data. He is allowed to access only the employees belongs to 20th department. Then what? Then what? Hmm? Create the view. So create what's that? View V2 as what? Select number. Next one, name, job, department number from EMP where department number equals to 20. So create view V2. Then as select EMP and name, job, department number from EMP where department number equals to 20. Then so who is creating? Everything created by DBO. Okay, na? Created by DBO. So created. After creating, then he grant the permissions. Grant what's? Select, insert, update, delete on V2 to Vijay. Select, insert, update, delete on V2 to Vijay. Okay, na? Then permissions granted to Vijay. Now Vijay can see. Vijay cannot see the complete table. Vijay can see only the employees belongs to 20th department. Yes or no? Yeah. What is this is row level security, allowing the user to access only specific rows, not complete table. Yes or no? Okay, na? Then Amazon, suppose customer table is there. Customer table contains all the customers data, complete customer. But one user is there in, okay, na? One analyst is there in what's her India. So is allowed to access only Indian customers data. Is not allowed to access US customers data. Is allowed to access only Indian customers data. Then what? Create a view, grant the view to the user. Okay, then that's Okay, but in these two examples, okay, then grant, select, insert, update, delete on V2 to what, to Vijay. So then grant, select, insert, update, delete on V2 to Vijay. Understood? Then next, see, suppose then, but in these two examples, V1 and V2, V1, V2, in these two examples, what are these views are called? Simple views, because these two views are based on single table. So these views are what? Simple views. One more is there. What that is? Complex views. When view set to be complex view, a view set to be what? Complex view. One, what if based on what's that? View based on multiple tables. Next one. If query contains what? If query contains what? Group by class. Group by class. Next one. Having class. Okay. Aggregate functions. Okay, na? Aggregate functions. Group by class. Having class. Aggregate functions. Next one. Expressions. Okay. Subqueries. Then next. Group by class, having class, aggregate functions, expressions, subqueries. Okay. Distinct class. Then in all these cases, the view set to be what? Complex view. So if the view based on multiple tables, if query contains any of this one, then it is complex view. Okay. Now, suppose let's take one example. Okay. For example, suppose there is one .NET developer. The .NET developer is developing one application. For his application, he want data. He's developing one web application. For his application, he want the data. But data is not there in what? .NET. Data is there in what's her? SQL Server database. Data is not there in .NET. It is there in SQL Server database. But it's not there in one table. It is there in what's her? 5 tables. It is not there in one table. It is there in 5 tables, or it is there in 10 tables, like that. Then what .NET developer has to do? He has to get the data from 10 tables. He has to use the data for his application. He has to get the data from 10 tables, use the data for his application. Yes or no? Then, but to get the data from 10 tables, what he has to do? Write join query. He has to write what? Join query. To write join query, he must know which two tables he can join. Which two tables he can join? What is the type of the join? If it is inner join, what is the common field? Equijoin, what is the common field? Okay. If it is outer join, which outer join? Left outer, right outer, full outer. He must know all this. If you know all this, then he can able to write the query. But we can't expect this developer to know all this, because he is expert in .NET development, but is not expert in writing queries. He can write simple queries, but he cannot write complex queries. Then what he will do? He'll contact what's it? This .NET developer will contact what? SQL Server developer. SQL Server developer will write the query. For any given scenario, he can write what's her query. Select whatever the columns he want from what's her table 1. Next what? Inner join table 2 on what join condition. Next one, what's her left join table 3 on condition. So he can write the query. Okay, whatever the scenario is given, based on the scenario, he can able to write the query. But not only he will write the query, based on this query, he creates what's her view, create view CV1 as. He write the query, and based on this query, he creates what? View. And he will ask .NET developer, boss, if you want to get the data from 10 tables, simply run the query, select star from CV1. After creating this view, he'll ask front-end developer, .NET developer, to get the data from 10 tables, simply run the query select star from CV1. When he runs select star from CV1, what query is executed? When he run the select star from CV1, this query is executed. Yes or no? That means here, So .NET developer will get the data from 10 tables without writing the complex join query. That means complex query is converted into simple query or not? Yes. That is useful for non-database developers. If non-database developers want to access the data from databases, sometimes scenarios are what's are complex. So they cannot write complex queries. Then what? Create what's are view and give the view to the .NET developers. So then instead of writing the queries on tables, they write the queries on views. Understood? Then. So in the beginning, I given what's the two advantages. What is the two advantages? Views are created for to provide what? Security. And you know how to provide the security by creating views. You learn two. One is row level security, another one column level. What is the another one? To reduce what's the complexity. Reduce the complexity. Okay. How you can reduce the complexity? With the help of views, complex queries can be converted into simple queries. With the help of views, complex queries can be converted into simple queries. Then, now, so next, with the help of what views, complex queries can be converted into what simple queries. Okay, views complex queries can be converted into simple queries. Okay, na? That. Now, let's see. That example one. What create view? What's that? Create view v1. Create view v1 as what? Select create view v1 as select what's that? Create view v1. So e dot emp envo, e dot ename, e dot salary. Next one, d dot department number, d dot dname, d dot location. From emp as e, what? Inner join department as d on e dot department number equals to d dot department number. What I'm doing, creating a what's her view. So this view gives the data from what? Two tables. Yes or no? This view gives the data from what's it? Two tables. Okay. Then. So this view gives the data from two tables. Then create the view. View is what's it? Like let's say CV1. View name is what's it? CV1. So let's create the view CV1. So after creating this view, after creating the view, whenever you want employees and department table data, then what? After creating this view bars, whenever you want to see the employees data with department data, if you want to see employees and departments table data, then simply run what's it? Select star from what? CV1. Select star from CV1. When you run this query, it will show the data from two tables. You are getting the data from two tables without writing the complex join query. Yes or no? So this is another purpose of creating what's it? Views. Okay. Then. So next, after creating view, so whenever we want data from what? EMP and what's it? Department tables, then instead of writing what? Writing join query, write the simple query. Write the simple query as follows. What is the simple query? Select star from CV1. That's so there are these two are main advantages of creating what's that views. Previous one providing security. What the second one is? Complex queries are converted into simple queries. So giving the name to this query, whenever you want to run the query, then simply say select star from CV1. Okay, na? Then. So one user is asking, one user wants what's that?